Well, of course, in our tradition and in the Protestant tradition, it has been the central place. It is the sacrament, but it is not. It is not what some of us have made it out to be. They used to say when I was young that the pulpit was 6 feet above contradiction. Well, of course, that never was so. It's certainly not so now. Uh, and the preacher is in the peculiar position, I think, of having to speak a word too big for him or her. And I've said in this article I've written there in that book that nobody will ever preach the gospel. You have some days when you feel you've been fairly well delivered, but that ought not last more later than Tuesday, Wednesday at the most. I have some faithfulness, but I hear what I've heard during my time and what I'm afraid I did sometimes of a pandering uh, to the mood of the moment. It is awfully hard for any preacher to remain loyal to the gospel and to him who has sent the preacher, because the preacher is involved in the whole milieu of what's going on around. He's a participant and, in some sense, a leader in it. And yet he's called on to address it. It's a difficult position. If one addresses it, he creates or she creates a gulf between him and the people. If one does not address it and identifies himself or herself with the people, he or she fails then very likely to be a spokesperson for God. The combination of the judgment and mercy of God. A judgment which is itself a mercy, and a mercy which is a judgment. Scherer used to say, I greatly admired Paul Scherer, the Lutheran preacher. He used to say that worship is a time that we bring, or ought to, bring the gods we have made before the God who has made us. And that's, when we make a God, we don't like to have that God judged. We don't like that. Um, yeah. And another problem is we are so close to being gods that we confuse our location in the creation. And we very quickly take on the claim of God, of being God. But I think the preacher cannot, or the pastor cannot come to that until, at least to some extent, until he or she has, as honestly as we can, faced who we are and who we are not. But it's very difficult for us to look at ourselves. It's hard business because what you see is not something you like all the time. I don't think any church ever elects a pastor. A church elects a minister, which is an honorable title. I'm not arguing that. But pastor has that hint, that suggestion of shepherd, of sheep committing themselves, and a shepherd who takes responsibility for the sheep. And I think one has to earn that. I don't think you can be elected to that. So the churches elect ministers and call them pastors, but no, to become a pastor. And then nobody turns their no one turns his or her life over to a stranger. And pastors don't recognize often that I'm a pastor, I've just been elected. So what? That's different from people believing in you and you believing in people. You got to come to know them. You don't know them. And I think sometimes we make that mistake.